If you're trying to decide between Litchfield and Washington, Connecticut, you are trying to decide between two of the most desirable towns in all of Litchfield County. And on the surface, these towns can seem similar. Both are historic, both are beautiful, both offer that classic New England small town charm that people that move to Connecticut are looking for. But once you actually start to break them down, they are not the same decision at all, and that's exactly where buyers start getting tripped up. So how do you know which one is right for you? That is exactly what we're going to be covering today. We're putting Litchfield and Washington together in a true head-to-head versus battle. We are going to score 10 categories that actually matter to buyers right now. Each category is worth half a star. If a town clearly wins, they get a half a star. If they are both strong, they will both get half a star. So by the time we are done, you are going to understand not only which town is more expensive or more exclusive, but which town makes more sense depending on you and your lifestyle. I've lived in Connecticut my entire life. I run Dave Jones Realty. My team helps people navigate these exact decisions every single day, not just in theory, but what works in the real world. So let's get right into it. Washington versus Litchfield. Round one, entry price. Let's start with the thing that pulls most buyers in right away, and that is the price. Looking at 2025 full year data, Litchfield had a median sales price of $527,000. Washington's median sales price was $765,000. So Washington is about $238,000 more expensive on average. That is a massive difference. For buyers trying to get into Litchfield County, that gap could be the difference between being able to buy or being priced out entirely. Litchfield's lower price point reflects accessibility. It is still exclusive. It is not prohibitive. Washington's higher price reflects scarcity, privacy, and the fact that you're buying into one of the most sought after towns in the whole state. So the question is simply, where can I buy for less money? The answer is clearly Litchfield, and Litchfield gets half a star. Round two, property tax. Now we move into the part of the conversation that absolutely changes the game for long-term ownership, property tax. And this is where Washington is going to dominate. And I mean dominate. Litchfield's mill rate for the fiscal year 2026 was 20, which is great. It's one of the lower ones in the state. But Washington's was 10.85. That is the lowest mill rate in Connecticut. And let me say it again, Washington has the lowest property tax rate in the entire state. Let me show you what this means in real dollars. Say you're buying a house assessed at $500,000. In Litchfield, your property tax would be right around $10,000. In Washington, your annual property tax would be $5,000. That's a $4,500 difference every single year. Over a 30-year mortgage, you'd be saving $137,000 in savings just in the tax. Now, here's the kicker. Even though Washington homes cost more upfront, the tax savings can make the monthly payment comparable or even lower than a cheaper home in Litchfield. This is an important aha moment for buyers looking at these two towns. Washington is definitely more expensive, but it is significantly cheaper to own, and over time that matters more than purchase price. So while Litchfield wins on entry price, Washington dominates on tax efficiency and long-term structure. So Washington gets half a star. Before we move on, I want to make sure this point lands clearly. Litchfield wins the first round because it's cheaper to buy, but Washington wins the second round because of the property tax. And tax savings are so significant, they can offset a large portion of the purchase price, and the difference could be huge to your bottom line. This is not Litchfield versus Washington. This is entry point versus long-term value. Round three, market momentum. Now let's talk about what's actually happening in these markets right now. because market momentum tells you a lot about demand, buyer confidence, and the long term trajectory of the town. Litchfield in 2025 closed 95 sales. The median price was 527, down slightly from the year before, and the days on market were 58. The market is a little slower. The value softened slightly, and the homes took a little bit longer to sell. While Washington in 2025 closed sales were at 53, the median sales price was 765, which was down almost 30% from 2024, and the days on market was 89. The market saw significant price volatility. So what does this tell us? Both markets cooled slightly in 2025. Both saw sales volume stay relatively flat, but Washington's median price drop was notable. That does not necessarily mean values crashed. It likely reflects a shift in the mix of homes sold, fewer ultra high-end luxury, and more mid-range properties. Litchfield's market is definitely more stable. Washington's market is more volatile, which makes sense given the smaller sample size and the higher price point. For market momentum stability, Litchfield definitely has the edge, and because of that, Litchfield gets half a star. Round 4, the buying experience. Let's shift into what it actually feels like to go through the buying process in each one of these towns. Litchfield, with nearly double the sales volume, has more inventory. That means more opportunity to find the right property. You are not waiting months for something to come on the market. Washington, however, has far fewer sales, longer days on market, and it will require patience. When the right property hits the market, you need to be ready, but you are not competing with dozens and dozens of buyers on every listing. Both markets are selective, but both require decisiveness when you find what you want. But with Litchfield's higher inventory flow, it gives buyers more options and more chances to find the right fit. So when we look at the buying experience itself, Litchfield definitely has the advantage, so Litchfield gets half a star. Round 5, commute and daily access. Both Litchfield and Washington are rural Litchfield County towns, so neither is going to feel like a quick commute to Hartford or New Haven, but there are differences. Litchfield is more centrally located in the county. You have easier access to Route 8 South to get to Waterbury and I-84. Commuting to Hartford is about 45 to 50 minutes. Waterbury is 25 to 30 minutes. And you have more daily infrastructure in Litchfield. Grocery stores, pharmacies, restaurants, without needing to drive too far. Washington is definitely more remote. You're further from major highways. Commuting to Hartford is closer to an hour. Waterbury is 35 to 40 minutes. And daily errands are going to require driving to neighboring towns. Both towns are rural living, but Litchfield is more accessible for daily life and commuting. So for commute and daily access, Litchfield wins and gets half a star. Quick side note here, if you're trying to figure out which town is actually a good fit for your lifestyle, your price point, and what is important to you, that is what the team at Dave Jones Realty does every single day. My contact info is on the screen. Reach out and we will get you going in the right direction. We will help you get it right the first time. Round 6, schools and the perception of the town. We're not ranking schools directly here, and I always recommend doing your own research. You can go to sites like greatschools.org, plug in the exact address you're considering, and it will give you school rankings. But what we can talk about is perception, because perception plays a huge role in real estate. Washington is one of the most prestigious addresses in all of Connecticut. It carries name recognition. When you say you live in Washington, Connecticut, people know exactly what it means. Privacy, exclusivity, old money, and understated wealth. Litchfield also has strong name recognition and a great reputation. It's known as historic, charming, well-maintained, old-school New England town. But it may not carry the same level of exclusivity as Washington, and that's evident just from the number of sales there. Both towns have very solid school systems, but Washington's perception is an elite address and it gives it the edge in this category. And for this reason, Washington gets half a star. Round 7, lifestyle and the daily feel. This is one of the biggest differences between these two towns, and it's not something you can fully understand just by looking online. Litchfield feels like a town. It has a village center. It has local businesses, a town green and restaurants, a farmer's market. You can walk around, grab coffee, run into people. There is a sense of community from having a central gathering place. Washington feels like the countryside. It's more spread out. Homes are tucked away on private roads. You're not walking to anything. You're not running into neighbors at the coffee shop. You have privacy. You have seclusion. It's why so many celebrities call Washington home. And you have the quiet that comes with it. Neither one is better. It depends on what you are looking for and what you prefer. Some buyers want a town center with the ability to walk to things. Others want total privacy and separation from everything. And this is where being honest with your own preferences become very important. Because the wrong choice here does not show up immediately. It shows up after you've been living there a while. Both towns are strong in their own way. So this category is going to be a tie with both towns getting half a star. Round 8, things to do and amenities. When it comes to things to do in local amenities, Litchfield has the advantage. It is a larger town with more restaurants, more shops, more community events, and more overall activity. The Litchfield Village Center is charming, walkable, and you have options without needing to drive very far. Washington has fewer concentrated amenities, and you're driving to neighboring towns for almost everything, from shopping to dining to entertainment. But the trade off is privacy and exclusivity. For buyers who value having things nearby and a more active local scene, Litchfield wins this one clearly. Litchfield gets half a star. Round 9, space and outdoor lifestyle. Now we move into a category where Washington is going to stand out. Washington is one of the most rural, private, secluded towns in all of Connecticut. Homes sit on large parcels. You have space, you have land, you have separation from neighbors. The overall environment feels completely removed from suburban or even small town density. Litchfield also offers space and beautiful properties, but it is slightly more developed. In Litchfield, you have uptown at the village center. You have more traffic through the town and a bit less of that remote countryside feel. For buyers who are looking for maximum privacy, space, and that true rural lifestyle, Washington is the clear winner, and Washington gets half a star. Round 10, resale strength. In the final category, we're looking at how these towns perform when it comes time to sell. Washington has the lowest mill rate in Connecticut. That is not changing. The tax advantage is built into the town's fundamentals. It attracts affluent buyers who appreciate tax efficiency, and it creates consistent demand from a specific buyer pool. But Litchfield has a strong resale value as well. It is well known, highly desirable, and the solid schools and classic New England appeal make the home sell reliably. But Washington's combination of exclusivity, name recognition, and unbeatable tax structure give it the edge long term for resale strength. The buyer pool is smaller, but it is highly motivated and highly qualified. So for resale, Washington is going to take this category and going to get half a star. When you sum it all up and add up the final score, Litchfield comes in at 3 out of 5 stars, and Washington comes in at 2.5 out of 5 stars. But let me be very clear about something important. This does not mean Litchfield is necessarily better. It means Litchfield wins more of the categories that we scored based on accessibility, affordability, daily convenience. Litchfield wins on entry price, market momentum, buying experience, commute and daily access. the lifestyle, which was a tie, and the amenities. If your priorities are accessibility, a lower entry price, a town center with local activity, easier commuting, not feeling isolated, a great pool of restaurants, Litchfield is the clear winner. And this is really what this whole comparison comes down to. It's not about which town scored higher, it's about whether you value accessibility and exclusivity more. If you want community, convenience, and a lower entry price, and you are okay paying higher property taxes for those benefits, Litchfield makes more sense every single day. If you want privacy, tax savings, and exclusivity, and you can afford the higher purchase price, then Washington is going to make sense every single day. Because even though you pay more upfront, you're going to be saving every year on your taxes. The wrong move is picking Litchfield just because it scored higher and then realizing 2 years later you wish you had more tax efficiency or more privacy. The wrong move is picking Washington because it's more prestigious and then realizing 6 months later you feel isolated and disconnected from daily life. Figure out exactly what you need, not what sounds nice, but what you need. And then pick a town that delivers on all of that. If you are seriously considering Litchfield or Washington or anywhere in Connecticut, do not guess. Call my team. We will walk you through the real differences, show you properties in both towns, and help you find one that fits your lifestyle. Reach out to me, Dave Jones with Dave Jones Realty. All my contact is here. We will answer. We will help you get it right the first time. If you got value from this breakdown, please let me know. I've got tons of more Connecticut towns to compare, market updates, relocation content, all kinds of information coming, real information that will help you make better decisions. Drop a comment and tell me Team Litchfield or Team Washington. And if you want to see more of these towns and matchups, drop the towns you're curious about, and I will review them the same way.